All right, so class 1, class 2, class 3.
Where's the class 1 on this?
Class
They look
1,
straight.
they will look straight. There could just be one little, rotation or something out of line.
Where is it on this set?
Let's see. I'm thinking it's just like with the laterals. It looks like they're either in just a little bit or rotated just a little bit.
Very subtle class.
Very subtle. Class 2
Overbite.
is going to be our overbite. Class 3, underbite. Okay. So, first I'm going to show how to do or how to place the elastic separators. Okay. So this is going to be in preparation for braces. So we're going to place them, then the patient's going to come back and we're going to place the bands around the molars. So this is the band that we're going to place. To do that, we have to have space to get it down in between the teeth. So we're going to take these guys.
So are bands usually on
First molars.
just the first molar, not the second as well?
Nope.
Nope.
Usually just the first. A lot of time the people that are doing braces don't even have their second molars yet. If you think about age-wise, these are going to be their 12-year molars. So if they're before 12 years old, they're only going to have their first molars.
So if, in the case of the first molar being already taken out and say an adult decides to get them, then what would they put it on?
Still first, then it would be the second molars if they had they usually don't take out their first You mean just for like, if something happened with their first molars and they had to remove them, then yeah, they just put them on their second. I'm gonna grab another piece of floss.
If the adult had their first and second, they would still choose the first.
Yeah.
What if movement
Because
needs to
remember-
happen on that?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so how we do this is the easiest way that I've been shown how to do this. They have little pliers that separate them, but my friend that works in ortho does it this way, and it seems to work really great. So to place these separators, you're gonna take 2 pieces of floss, put it in between the band, and you're going to stretch it. Just like that. And then you're going to just place them in between the teeth. Oops, let's do first molar. And you're just going to kind of shimmy it back and forth until it goes down into the contact. And you want to get both of them. So I have one down right now. I'm trying to not let the thing bite me. Just sometimes easier said than done.
It's gonna be harder in their mouth.
It's actually easier in the mouth.
It's easier in the mouth, yeah.
Because the patient stays open.
My jaw's not moving.
Right.
Is this gonna be painful for the patient?
Nope, it doesn't really hurt them at all. It just feels tight. So it's going to be like,
Is it gonna feel like a little bit of just pressure?
it's going to feel like floss is stuck in between their teeth. It's gonna be like that, to where it's not, see how it's not budging now? And then you just take these out. Floss is not working with me today.
But you want both sides in between the teeth.
It's separating it.
So you only want one side band
Whoop.
in between the teeth
Yes.
instead of both?
No, you want both of them in between the teeth. If not, they'll be biting on it and it'll just feel weird. This one's all weird.
Probably wear pretty quick. So we'll be placing 4 in total.
Yep. I usually just have you do 1 arch instead of 2 arches. But they would do it, technically you would do 8.
Oh, for the, okay.
Maxillary and mandibular. Okay. Skin. Angelina, will you just hold this mouth for me? So I'm not trying to do 8 things at the same time. So hold that and then hold that here. Good. So then it's not gonna bite me. There you go.
When you are sticking fingers in his mouth, he's gonna be
I know.
Ta-da.
I always tell them that the only reason that you get bite is because you put fingers in their mouth. If you don't put your fingers in their mouth, you don't get bit.
That's true.
So the top of the rubber band is not in between the teeth.
If you can see the tooth though, it's pushed separate.
Okay.
And so then we would also do the front part of that tooth. And you guys are more than welcome to do it on each other.
Will the
It won't hurt
tests be
you.
on each other?
No,
No.
the test will just be on the teeth.
So it'll be on a mannequin.
Right.
Does a lot of debris and food get stuck in between there? I feel like because there's some
This is only in for a few days.
not the rubber bands, but the actual
The teeth,
silver that's around
the band,
Yeah.
there's cement in between, so there shouldn't.
Okay.
Mason, do you want to hold that for a second? Oh, why are you being so difficult today?
Do you have the pliers that are used?
They're just stretchy pie. It just stretches them,
Just
so it's the
stretches
same
them.
thing. But yeah, we have a pair.
Can you look
Mhm.
at them? Yeah. And see how they're used.
There we go. Oh, one of them's down.
And what are those pliers called?
Those are the how pliers?
The how pliers? The 110.
Yeah.
So that's class 1, so 1 BN2, 2 card. So what is that? Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so
She's saying
then
she probably just wanted the lateral.
This one, yeah.
that's gonna be your separators. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do the wires and ligature bands and ties. So we have 3 different types. We have our individual, we have the continuous, and we have our ligature bands.
And aren't there continuous elastic bands as well? That go all
There
the way
are
around?
power chains. I don't make you guys check off on those. We do have some that if you want to put them on, it just looks like this, except all the bands are connected.
Do they do the same thing as these wire?
They're gonna do the same thing. Yeah, it just holds it together more, so it can add more tightness and to pull. If you can get these on, you can get those on.
But the wire and the elastic for the continuous are the same. It's
Yes.
just one's wire,
Yes.
one's.
Yep. The power chain actually will it will pull harder
It'll pull
than
harder.
the chain than the
Okay.
wire will. Yeah, I'll grab them. It's
It's on the spool.
it is. So you can see it's a tight wire. So like when you pull it,
Okay.
it definitely adds pull to
Wow.
it.
What do you like think of when you think of what's on where they put it in, they just plug it on?
That's what these are.
Oh, Sarah has a power chain on.
Yeah. Ooh, Sarah.
Let's see.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Okay, so one thing that you're gonna go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, do these do the same thing as
Yep.
the plastic?
Yep, these all do the same thing.
So this doesn't apply more pressure? The
This
plastic
will be
doesn't?
just like this.
Just the same?
Exact
Okay.
same, yeah. So this is an end cutter. What it's gonna do is it's gonna cut the wire Your son is calling.
I see that thing. Why don't you take care of that? No, just kidding. Okay, so with the wire first, I'm gonna start at the midline. First, I'm gonna get my wire. What did I do with my wire? Sitting here with all my different colors that you can choose from. So there's tons of different colors that you can choose from with them. So let's do maxillary first. So there's a difference in maxillary and mandibular.
So this is a round wire.
This is going to be a round wire, yeah. And it's the 0.016.
So they're different sizes.
There's different thicknesses.
And in the treatment plan, it will talk about which
So
ones
you can
use.
see how the maxillary is wider than the mandibular. The mandibular is more narrow. Each one of these wires has a line in the center. This is going to be your midline. So you want to make sure this line matches up to this line. Okay? So you're going to just slip it in the bands. And how I like to do it is I like to put it in the center, and then I like to see how long it is. Okay? Because I don't want to be working on the patient and having a ton of wire in the back poking them. Right, Sarah?
Quick question, the book said that there's 2 different ways to measure the wire without putting it in the patient's mouth. I couldn't find out how though.
You
I was reading
can, what you can do is you can just set the wire on top of the teeth and not put them in the brackets if it's too long. Or you can take the wire that's already in their mouth and measure it that way.
and then you
Once
go ahead
once
and
it's cut, because then that's not going to change that much.
Would you leave it a little bit longer just in case, or would you cut it right to?
No, because you don't need. What I do is just in here to practice with is I'm going to put it in the center, and then I'm going to trim it kind of where I think it's going to be. So let's see, this one has a back loop.
And do you want it to come through the back?
This one does have a back loop on it. Not all of them will.
So if you cut it too short, you would have to start all over.
Yes. But if you cut it too long, they're going to be poking themselves. So I cut it maybe a little bit longer than it probably is going to be, because I'm going to cut it again at the end once I get it positioned wise. But this is going to at least make it to where they're not getting stabbed in the cheek as you're putting
And you said there's not always going to be a tube on the back
on the second molar.
in the second.
There's always going to be one on the band. Okay? And
Well,
then what I do,
Will the second molar usually have a bracket on it?
not all the time.
Not all the time.
No. This one does. But Sarah, do you have it on yours?
On my
On your
maxillary,
second
I don't, but on my
mandibular you do? Okay. So then you're going to place it in the hole, and it just slips right through the hole. And think in the mouth, you're gonna have a cheek. So using like cotton pliers or hemostats you can use when you put it in there.
And then the rubber bands are what keeps it on there. correct?
The rubber band's what keeps it on. I like to just put it through this before I start putting the bands on. So then it's kind of helping me guide itself.
For the Damon ones,
Mhm.
he described it as like kind of garage doors, so he just like pop them.
Yep,
open,
exactly.
So no rubber
He has
bands.
the little locks on them. Yeah, so what he's talking about is the brackets actually have little locks on them. So you don't have to put bands on them at all. The wire just fits into the bracket and then it just locks over. So it's kind of cool.
So that's just another method.
Just another method, yep.
And that'll just change depending on the orthodontist. How do you determine whether you need wire or elastic?
The doctor.
The doctor.
Yep.
Yeah.
So once you have it on, then you can put the wire in the bracket, and then whatever you're gonna use, you can put on. So I'm gonna do one quadrant with bands, one with ligature continuous ties, and one with an individual. So with the wire, you're gonna make sure that you're centered. And then how I like to do it is you just put it over the 2 mesial ones, and then it just wraps around the distal ones. Okay, this takes some getting used to Okay, and then it'll just depend on what the orthodontist wants. If they want it to be individually tied off there, or if they want to just run it continuously around to the next tooth. If you're gonna run it continuously, you're just going to overlap it or cross it and then just move on to the next tooth and do the same thing.
What do you do if you individually tie it when it's continuous?
Then you'll just twist it. You'll like grab hemostats and twist it, and I'll show you with this one. And then you just tuck it under and cut it. So I'll show you it with the single. So with the continuous, you're going to continue all the way through the quadrant.
Just twisting once over.
Yep,
On
just
the other
twisting
side
once
of
over
each.
and continuing through.
Is this one like the least common?
I don't know how orthodontists do it, honestly. I know a lot of orthodontists use the wire. So it just, I guess it depends just on the orthodontist and what they prefer.
Just seems like it's like double wire now.
Well, this is just holding it on. So it's not really double wire. This is just connecting the wire.
Instead of rubber bands.
Right, right. So then once you get to here, I really thought I had more instruments out. You're gonna grab some hemostats and you're going to connect it down at the bottom, and then you're just going to twist the hemostats, okay, not the patient's mouth.
So what's a hemostat?
I'm gonna go grab it. I just can't let go. If the patient's mouth, oh, is Netta gonna grab me some? Thank you, dear.
So you twist
I think
it.
I have them sitting out somewhere.
This says cutter on here
No.
and forceps.
Let me see what forceps I have. Yep, that's what I wanted. And that other instrument that was on top of that. Perfect. So then you have it locked on. Now I can let go of it.
So you just twist it a bunch
Yep.
on the other end.
Yep.
Until it's tight.
Tight, and then what you're gonna do, so instead of twisting the mouth, you would just put these on and you could twist them
Okay.
instead of twisting the
because it
mouth.
won't.
So what's the hemostat?
This is the hemostat.
That's the hemostat.
And then once you have it tight, then you can just take your wire cutters, cut it, and then you will take either your hemostats or just an instrument and you're going to wrap it under.
So why didn't you go to the back tooth?
Because there's nowhere to wrap it around here. You only wrap it
Oh.
with the bracket.
And the wire's held in place by the tubing on the back
Yep.
tooth. Okay, alright. So then if you needed to attach it to the second molar, you would have to use an individual.
It just sits in this little tube. This is a tube. It's not a bracket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
So it just
Glasses, excuse me.
it just connects right into this tube. It just came out.
So if there is something if there's a bracket on the back tooth, it's gonna be a tube, it's not gonna be an actual bracket.
They can put whatever they want back there.
Yeah. If it was an actual bracket, then would you have to use an individual
Then you'd have to
tie?
individual it, yeah. So that's what that looks like with the continuous. With the individual, you're going to just take it, and you can see how it's shaped, how one side goes up. That's the side that you're gonna put on your mesial, and it just slips right over the mesial part of that band, of the bracket. And then you just pull it so it kind of stops, and then you do the same thing. You grab your hemostats, connect it, and then you just twist it.
I feel like it's much bigger than it needs to be.
It's much what?
Bigger than it needs to be.
This one, you think, yeah, it is. And then you do that, and then you can just wrap it around and tuck it under.
Would you wrap it around or cut it?
You want to cut it a little bit. That's like super long. So see how long this
So
is.
where exactly are you tucking this thing? You say
Underneath
tuck
the
it
wire.
under.
Yep, just underneath the wire.
So when you brush and stuff, isn't it gonna get bent? No?
No? I mean, sometimes they do, and sometimes they're poking them.
Yeah.
You just want to cut it so it doesn't poke their lips, right?
Right.
Lip cheeks.
So you just try to like wrap it around the wire
Yep.
that's there?
Just like so.
Just so that it's not poking.
Right.
That's what this piece of gum away. Sorry, guys.
And then we will do our next one. So the next one we will do our bands. So what you're gonna do with these is you're just going to pull it off. And again, you can use an Explorer, you can use hemostats, whatever you want to be. I like using hemostats just because I like them. It's one of my favorite tools. So I just grabbed the hemostat on one corner and lock it. It's easier with gloves.
Oh, it locks on the other end.
Okay, and then you can just put it on one corner, and then you go to the other corner on the opposite side and lock it on that. Oops, that's the one I did the single on. Oh no, it just has a leftover single from somebody else.
Would you say that the connected rubber bands are easier?
Power chain.
The power chain, easier. I don't know if they're easier. It's pretty much the same. Everybody watch your eyes. Mason is everybody because I'm flinging it right towards him and myself. You want to make sure that when you get done doing these, you take off all the extra things.
Yeah, it seems like it would be difficult to take off the singles.
Yeah, it's not, you can do like the wire cutters and try to cut them too. This one's just doesn't have the wire on it, so it's making it really difficult. There we go. Okay, so then we want to put our one corner, loop it over to the opposite corner, and connect it. And then what you do is then you can just take your instrument and guide it over the other two.
What instrument do you have there?
This is
Not
a
an
spoon. You could use an Explorer, you can use a spoon, you could use...
Would the Explorer break the plastic
Nope.
though? With the sharp? No.
Nope, and then it's like that. And for people that do it all the time, they like grab them, throw it on, and it's no time at all when you're doing it every day, all day long. Of course, I don't do it all day, every day. So it takes me a second. And then you just do this for the,
So you go corner to corner.
yep.
And then you use your tool to.
Yeah, or I mean,
Get
you
it
can
over
use
the
this
other
too
corners.
to get it over the top, but
I feel like it's like when
Maybe a
you
little
make your
easier.
bed and you put on the bottom sheet, you have to do like the other corners so it doesn't flop.
exactly.
So you said that the thing you're using right now is called
That's a spoon, but Explorers work
called
way
a
better.
spoon. That's the technical term for it.
A spoon excavator. Mm-hmm.
Spoon excavator.
Yeah, crazy enough, I'm not just calling it a
I'm
spoon.
like, hold on a second.
But this one, that's a different one.
This is a Hollenbach. I'm just grabbing instruments off of an amalgam tray. And this one,
What are Hollenbachs used for?
placing restorative materials.
Oh, I see. I'm like, no, I'm asking all questions here.
Okay, so then when we get all the way around with that,
I'm in my orthodontic job and I'm pulling out the spoon, I'm gonna say.
my weird instructor was using random instruments off of an amalgam tray.
But whatever works, right?
What I'm saying is basically you can use any instrument you want and it'll work.
So when you go to place bands though, no matter what it is, you wanna start with the anterior teeth around the midline.
I
work
think
your
that's
way
the
back.
easiest because then it's placed and you're not trying to work from the back where you have a harder time seeing.
With the wires, will they go all the way around? With the long
The long
continuous wire, will it fit all the way
Pretty
around?
close to all the way around, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so if you did start at the back with
Yep,
the
and you can
continuous
do
wire,
a
it'll
full
go-
arch just to practice and stuff.
So would this be something that we would have to do?
Yes.
Okay.
This is something that you would be doing. So then once you get it placed, then, oh, that one didn't go through. Then you might have to cut it some more based on how far it is. How far it's sticking out.
I was
This one
just about
broke.
to say that's shooting out was scary.
Yeah, this one broke. So, you guys get the point. So then you can take your end cutter, go back at the end, and cut off what,
Wraps around just perfect there.
yeah, it's like it was made for that or something. Crazy enough. Maybe. It's not really cutting that well today. So then you have your bands on. Okay, so that's all 3 different kinds. You guys can play with, oh, I didn't do the power chain, but you guys kind of get that idea.
It would be the same as putting the bands on. You
Yeah.
just stretch.
Yep, you just, I'm not putting a thing on, but you would just
Put it on.
place it on.
The kibashi.
I feel like that one
Hooks.
might be easier.
Are these little hooks that are on it? It's just a type of bracket.
And that's
And that's so that you can add more things onto it.
you can do the interdental bands
Yep,
from top to bottom.
yep.
Yeah, like the elastic band style.
So these just easily slip over.
Yeah, I feel like that's faster.
I don't have a band on, or a wire on, but
Okay. I see.
okay. So you guys can have fun and play with this stuff. For your practical, it'll be a quadrant of this.